going on, guys? Welcome to Circus. So today we're talking about an NSA hearing that was held in the House of Representatives in the week prior to July 4th. Now, this is a long hearing. Hours and hours of content. I've cut it down as best I can, but at the end of the day, all of it needs to be heard. And it's really frustrating when I come across a situation like this because I have these two competing issues. And one is that literally no one in America has the attention span to watch hours of a hearing. And I have to combine that with the fact that everyone should hear hours of this hearing. So in my mind, a lot of my job is condensing this information so that people can fit it into their attention span. And it gets hard to do that, really hard to do that, when every minute of the 3 hours is something that everyone should hear. What is this hearing about? Well, this hearing is about the cozy relationship that the NSA and the intelligence community has with content providers, service providers, in both the internet and telecommunications space. Ever since the Snowden revelations, 2012, 2013, we have known in detail what the NSA has been doing to its own American citizens and to people abroad. However, one of the major revelations that came out of the Snowden leaks was that Verizon was forced essentially to give MetaData information on almost every customer they had. That revelation, the connection between the intelligence communities and the service provider, is the problem that this hearing is focusing on. Because although the NSA's tools were all outed and their methodologies were all outed in 2013, it seems as though this practice of acquiring metadata without a warrant has continued on. Have a quick talk about what they're allowed to do and what they aren't allowed to do and what they are doing compared to what they should be doing. Okay. If the government wants to get a copy of the letter that somebody mailed to you in the snail mail, they need to get a warrant so that they can come and seize that property. Okay. If the government wants the content to read what the email says, the electronic mail, they also need to get a warrant so that they can read the content of that email. But there is this stuff called metadata. What is metadata? Well, metadata is famously was called data about data. So now they don't want the content of the email, but they want to know who sent it, what time they sent it, and where they sent it from. And they want to know that about every email this person's received in their whole life. That's metadata. The danger is they don't have to file a warrant to get metadata off the cloud. Back up. So they have to have a warrant to get metadata about your phone now. They have to have a warrant to get metadata off your laptop or your PC. They don't need a warrant to get metadata from the cloud. The reason why that's possible is because of complete misinterpretation of U.S. law. Let's go. When it comes to the expectation of privacy, which is what the entire Fourth Amendment is kind of cruxed on, is this expectation of privacy. There is what the United States has called the third-party doctrine for a very long time, and it is essentially the problem with what we've got going on here. And that is, back in the day, the government ruled that if you hand your data off to another person, that you are handing off your expectation of privacy. Essentially, what the government is saying is that when you send your data off to the cloud, it's the same as putting all of your phone records in the trash on the end of the road. There's no longer an expectation of privacy. So the government's allowed to go dig through your trash, and that's essentially what they're saying about the cloud. Well, why is that a problem? Well, that's a problem because when people send their information to the cloud, They have a higher expectation of privacy. They're sending their stuff to the cloud because they're operating under the assumption that the people who are operating those servers are going to secure their metadata and their actual data. There's no expectation that you're giving up your privacy. It's the exact opposite. You're sending your stuff to the cloud because you think it's safe there. It's not. The cloud might as well be the trash bin right now, because metadata, the data about the data in your cloud, they don't even have to get a warrant. They can call Microsoft and Facebook and Verizon and anybody and demand that they hand over all of the information about your information. So they're not going to be reading your emails, but they'll know so-and-so sent you an email at such and such time, and then they can bounce to that person and see who was emailing them. You guys, this gets out of control so fast. The problem with it is that as the government is going to attain this metadata from a third party without you knowing, they're including secrecy orders where they are tying the hands of the cloud provider, Amazon. In this case, in this hearing, Microsoft is here. And they're saying these intrusions, these Fourth Amendment intrusions into the personal lives of our customers come along with secrecy orders that force us not to inform our customer that the federal government is coming for their data. This is one of the most disgusting hearings I've ever sat through in my life. When you find out the links to which the government is abusing this power. And the interesting thing is they nail it all down to a time frame, of course, 2005. Isn't it interesting how so much garbage that happened in our country started during the Obama administration and seems to be carrying on? Anyways, they nail it down to a time period where this became the only viable option. And that year, it went from like 400 requests to like 45,000. And it didn't set off any alarm bells. So, we're going to go through this hearing. We're going to do it like it's almost like a live. Because that's what I might do. I might just post this video. Instead of using it as an introduction into the video, I'll just post this and I'll say that, let's see, I got work tonight. So we'll say Wednesday night, I'm going to live stream this hearing. And I've done some cutting and some chopping so that the dead parts are gone. But at the end of the day, it's still a long hearing. But if we're live streaming and I can talk to you guys while we're watching it, perhaps it'll keep people's attention. I don't know. All I know is it is must-see TV. If for no other reason than because it's the only hearing I've ever seen in my life where every politician in the room agrees. And of course, that's for selfish reasons. The politicians could care less about us. But with the most recent revelations that the Trump DOJ was trying to get the metadata for Schiff and Swalwell and certain other individuals, these people are all terrified. And they're all sweating because you have the Republicans in the House who know that Obama and Biden are doing this, and they have the Democrats who know that Trump was doing this. They're all terrified, and all of them, it's so funny because the entire hearing, they're arguing whether or not we're looking for a special exemption for reporters and for Congress, or if maybe this pesky Fourth Amendment applies to all the common folk as well. This conversation is a good conversation, and most everybody's agreeing in the House because they're all worried about their own butts. And anytime they're all agreeing, it's because they're all worried about their own butts. I had a person tell me a long time ago that whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, that whenever all the politicians agree, it's time to perk up your ear. And here, they're all agreeing. It's something that would have already perked up my ear. So we're going to get into it. We're going to live stream Wednesday night. And we're going to watch this together. This is the hearing on secrecy orders and illegal collection of metadata from third-party providers by the U.S. government. and we'll cover that tomorrow night. We might do Wednesday and Thursday because honestly, it's 3 hours. We'll live stream it starting Wednesday night. We'll go over it together, and we'll see if that carries on into Thursday. All right, y'all. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Catch me tomorrow. I love y'all. Peace.